welcome to the first day of Selenium training. So maybe you are new to Selenium, or maybe you are working on Selenium project, or maybe you want to clear interview. Well, we will be going in a very systematic manner and covering each
Hmm.
and every aspect of the Selenium. Okay, now don't worry about your knowledge regarding Selenium, as we will cover each and every topic in a systematic manner. Okay, we will learn C sharp, we will learn Selenium and cover each and every topic in Selenium. Now, to learn Selenium, we have actually got three phases. First of all, we will learn C sharp. You need to understand C sharp. Need to learn C sharp. Then next, you need to learn Selenium. And in order to learn Selenium, you must have knowledge of, say, driver, WebDriver, grid, and unit, Jenkins, and lots of other things, which we will actually learn while
Uh,
learning. Yeah,
yeah, the
yeah.
Jenkins is mandatory for that.
I'm getting your voice in very, you can say, uh, different voice. What are you saying?
The Jenkins is mandatory for that. Jenkins.
Yeah, Jenkins is what?
Jenkins is mandatory.
Mm, not of all mandatory, but we will just
Mhm.
discuss it because for interview it
Okay.
is a very important topic. Okay, interview
Okay,
can
got it.
ask any, yeah, interview can ask anything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and please
Okay.
don't be afraid of these terms as I will be teaching you each and
Hmm.
every topic in detail in the coming classes. And in the end, you have to learn how to build a framework,
Hmm.
end-to-end framework. And there are various types of framework available to us by Selenium, and we will be discussing all of them one by one. Now,
Got it.
before before actually jump into the training, let us take a few questions which are being asked by many people. Okay. Now, first of all, the first question that what is Selenium? Okay. Now, if we go to their official website, which is selenium.dev, and it says Selenium automates browsers. That's it. Selenium is actually used for automating web-based application, and it is not at all used for automating the desktop application. So it's another great or important interview question that Selenium can Selenium automate desktop application? And the answer is no. Selenium only automates web-based application. Okay. As far as browsers are concerned, it supports all the browsers. Say Chrome, Firefox, Explorer, Opera, and it supports all browsers. As a tester, you must have a knowledge of any programming language in order to learn Selenium. Whether it will be C sharp, it may be Ruby, it may be PHP, it may be Java. But in our case, it is C sharp. Now, in the training, see, we have Selenium. We will cover these modules, okay, which will cover each and every aspect of Selenium. I simply say that the Selenium training will give you an overview about all the topics which are required in order to learn Selenium WebDriver. All topics will be covered in the training. Okay, now the next question is that will you cover some live projects and frameworks? Well, live project is basically a framework, and we will cover all the frameworks in the coming training. It will be an end-to-end implementation on a live application. You will know you will know how to generate reports, how to email the reports in the end, how to add screenshots in the project, how to run test cases on grid, how to implement your test cases on Jenkins server. Everything will be discussed. Okay. Now, next question is, I want to use Selenium in my project. Can you help? And the answer is yes. We will be helping out you in your project. We have a team here which can help you. Okay. Also, if you see that uh, if I log in, we have a here query resolution forum, okay, where you can put your questions here and our team will revert back there. Okay, so you can put your query here. Now, coming back to our next question, that how much C sharp is required. So in our first part of training, if you see, we will cover the concepts of C sharp, which are required to learn Selenium, and it is more than enough. Okay, mostly people which are coming to us to learn Selenium doesn't know C sharp. They are coming from manual background, so don't worry about your that you will learn Selenium with C sharp. So many people think that they know
Got it.
Selenium. Yeah,
Got it. Yeah, please continue.
yeah. Many people think that they know Selenium, but actually they doesn't know about much about Selenium. So you have to learn C sharp or any other programming language to learn Selenium WebDriver. You'll have to give some time in order to learn Selenium. Okay. Now the next question is, I want to learn Selenium and clear interviews. Well, to learn Selenium and it requires 2 weeks. But if you want to learn professionally and build a project by yourself, it will take 6 to 8 weeks. It takes times. After full training, you will learn Selenium, but it will take time. Okay? We will give you lots of practice exercises for C sharp and Selenium. That is going to help you a lot for learning C sharp and Selenium. So now next question is, how tough is Selenium? It is very easy, but it requires time. You planted a plant today and also you want a fruit same day. It can't be done. So it will take time. Okay. Now the next question is, how much time required to learn Selenium? To learn Selenium, I already told you that it will require some time in order to have a brief knowledge of Selenium to clear interviews. The same way this picture shows that it will take time, but if you complete the training, then only you can achieve it. Okay. Now coming to install Visual Studio. Okay. Now go to their official website, which is visualstudio.microsoft.com. Okay. Now here you see uh, you have to see have to go for the community edition. Community version is free of cost. It is an open source IDE. Okay, and this can be used by you in order to learn C sharp, and this is more than enough from the testing point of view. Just click on this and you will go to the downloads, and here you can download the community edition. Okay, now as I have already installed in my computer. So mm, okay, now I will create a new project. Okay, okay, okay. So it is taking time. I will create a module on the previous, you can say previous application, suppose. So when you create a new project, this is how your code look like. Right now, I'm not telling you how to write code for Selenium. What I'm teaching you is C sharp. First of all, what is C sharp? Basic concepts of C sharp, roots of C sharp, so that it will become easy for you to write Selenium code in C sharp. First, we will discuss basic question or most are question. Okay. Now, see that why we need to learn n unit. Why n unit is required while we talk about Selenium with C sharp. To understand this, let us take an example that mm, suppose I say suppose Selenium scripts are running. Basically, you write a script in Selenium. Okay. When we work on Selenium project, what are the requirements or what are the basic requirements? Well, you have to read the, you can say, uh, data from Excel file or maybe XML file. Okay. Uh, and you want to suppose you want to generate reports, generate reports. It can be HTML, it can be XSLT report, or can be any report that you also want screenshots to be embedded into your reports, or you want to say screenshots, and you want say screenshots, and you want to generate logs. Okay. Now, what are logs? So suppose you want to know what happened each and every moment in your framework, or many more requirements are there. uh, Logs are like, you can say, at what time what is your code is doing at that time. So that is called logs, and many more requirements. Now you see that it there is script running, script 1, then script 2, then script 3, then script 4, and any number of scripts. Okay. Now when we talk about Selenium, Actually, we are talking about writing Selenium scripts. Okay, this is Selenium script 1, this is Selenium script 2, this is Selenium script 3, and this is Selenium script 4. Just writing the Selenium scripts, which will run one after the another or just run parallel will not serve the process. That is why we learn an unit for that to organize the stuff. Okay. Now an unit act as a heart of our project. Okay. But you cannot learn an unit like that. Okay. For this, you have to learn C sharp. And this N unit is act like an heart of the body. It will, you say, it will take data from your Excel file, XML file, or any other text file, and then it will guide which script to run at which time, and then it will generate reports, then take screenshots, then take lights logs as well. So NUnit is act like an heart of the framework. It will tell which script to run at which time, or run parallelly, or run simultaneously, and it will take data from Excel file, XML file, or any other file. Then it will generate reports, it will take screenshots, and it generate logs as well. Okay, now coming back to our code, you see that it says program.cs. Okay, now .cs means C sharp. Interview can ask you that what do you mean by .cs? So .cs is a extension. CS means C sharp. You can add your any class by just going for add and going for the by clicking here, or you can going here and click on class, then you can name your class. And the one thing, class name does not contain any number, or you can say sorry, space. You cannot take space. Okay, so now here this is our main method. Every time when the code runs, control comes here for the first time. Okay, now command to print console dot write line, and I can say learning Selenium with C sharp, and this, and after that every times you just need to write console dot read key so that I can see what is printing in the console window. Okay, now remember C sharp is case sensitive. Okay, so be very precise to write down the code. Now suppose here I'm saying console dot write line, and can say first I will make it as my startup class and run my code. Now it says learning sentence with C sharp. Now, why I writing this line? Suppose if I comment it and again run my code, now you see it is coming like it's saying that C automatically close the close window. Sometime what happens, it depends on system to system that if I don't write this line, then this console window will not stop. It just vanishes away. Okay. So for our help, we will write console.read key whenever we want to see what is printing. Now I will say console dot and say write and I say uh, testing. Now if I run my code, uh, now it suppose here if I now if I run my code, now you see testing and learning Selenium with C sharp is on the same line. Okay. Now this is a difference between console.write and console.write line. Okay. Uh, Here you can see when I say here, it says write the specific string value to the standard output stream. And when I hover over write line, write the specific string value followed by the current line terminator. Okay. So this is the difference between console.write and console.write line. This is a very basic question. Okay. Now in C sharp, the most helpful thing is breakpoints. Okay. Now,
Hello, Abhijit sir.
yeah, yeah.
I have one question. Um, it, here it says that private static void main and string. Uh, can you let me know the meaning of that particular line? Because
This,
I didn't get that.
yeah,
Private
you,
static void main.
okay. Now you see when I print this one and you can say when I use console.write, the next line which is printing is on the same line. You see, it's on the same line. Now suppose if I and again I run my code. So you see when this line prints, it will take the whole line. It will not looking for the back line. It will take whole line that this line is mine after this particular point. Now suppose if I write uh, now you see line 1 is in different line. This is in different line because right line will take the whole line after it uh, going for the you can say starting with this point. Now
Yes.
suppose if I print now after this line it now you will see now testing and line 1 is in the same line, because when this code execute, it will look after the execution of this code. It will not looking for the previous line. As in the previous line, console.write is in the same line. So after this code execute, it will look into the, you can say, after the execution of this line. Suppose if I put debug or breakpoint here. Now this is how we debug the program. Debug mode, the execution of the code will be stopped on this line. Now, and then it will jump onto the next line one by one. Suppose if I only put one debug point, or you can say breakpoint. Now, if I execute my code, now it will stop here. This is known as debug point or breakpoint. Now, by pressing F10, it will go line by line. Now, here nothing is print. Now, if I press F10, you see it prints testing. Now, console.writeLine will start from here. It will take this whole line, that this is my whole space, but it will not look for the, you can say, previous space. Okay, console.writeLine will take whole space. Now, if I press F10 again, where is the point? Okay, what happened? Tech methods. Now, if I press F10, then F10. Now, you see it prints line 1 here, and it will take this whole line, and it will not let anybody come into this space. So when I again press F10, it is giving error. Mhm. Now again, some error is there. Now again, now again, you see it is printing in the next line. So difference between the right line and right is that right line will take whole line, but right will take that part only. Okay, don't get confused. It's just a small part. You will get knowledge about this in the coming classes. So now you
Yeah.
see, now you see that I have put the debug point. Now, what is the, you can say, advantages of debugging? It's a very good interview question, that how can you put a breakpoint just clicking on this line anywhere, anywhere. I can put as much as debug points as I want. Okay, now you see, if I want to run my code line by line, I will press F10, F10, F10. Okay, now the it will execute line by line. Now suppose if I want to put my breakpoint here, and after that I want to run my whole code in a single go. So what can I do? That when the code is come onto this part, then I will press F5. So it will execute all the code, or till your next breakpoint. Suppose I have put breakpoint over here and put breakpoint over here, or you can say over here. Now suppose if I execute my code, now here, if I press F10, it will go to the next line. But I want to go to my next debug point. So I will press F5. Okay. it will bypass all the lines and stops to the next debug point. So what is the advantage of debugging? So in a project, when you got some errors and you don't know what is the error coming from, then you can put breakpoint and then you put breakpoint and then you can simply apply breakpoint and debug the code and resolve the error. So say I'm again typing. This is a very basic interview question that interview can ask, that how to execute your code line by line. So I will say after putting the debug point, pressing F10 will execute my code execution of code line by line, and by pressing F5 it will do, you can say, run whole code or stop to the next breakpoint. It is very simple, you can say, knowledge, but it is a very good knowledge that interviewer can ask you. Okay, now coming to our data types. Now if I okay, now coming to our data types, suppose if I declare int I equal to 100. Okay, now what does this int I equal to 100? Suppose interview can ask you that what does this represent? So can you tell me that what does this represent?
And it's a numeric number, integer.
Nee, the thing is that interview can ask you that what does you don't go the
Mm,
data type of integer. It is an integer. I know that it is a numeric value as no. I know, but what does this represent in you can say logically?
no, because it will not execute.
Okay, this means that there is a memory location whose name is I and value assigned as 100. So 100 has been stored inside that memory location, which is named as I. Now, don't get confused. Suppose if I tell you now, you can say, when I declare 100, there is a memory location. You can say this is whole my memory, and there is a memory location in which value 100 has been stored, and this location is named as, can say, this location is named as I is representing this memory location. This is a very basic question. No one will tell you about this. That what does this mean? Int I equal to 100. Now there is a memory location where 100 value is stored, and the name of this memory location is I. It can be I, it can be Y, it can be, you can say anything which you declared. Okay. Now here, when I say int a equal to 100, now here it, you can say, now here the location of memory location name is A. A is representing, can say, uh, this memory location. Okay, so just remember that whenever whenever interview can ask you that what this means, int a equal to 100, int a equal to 200, int b equal to 300. So you will say that there is a memory location whose name is your variable name, which is in the case is a. So here it is a, and value assigned as 100. So 100 has been stored inside that memory location whose name is a. So by this is your memory location where 100 value is stored, and the name of this memory location is a. Okay, now suppose uh, if I write console.writeLine and say, now you see it will print 100, which I know that it will print 100. Okay. Now you see it is printing 100. Now suppose if I write here, then this is wrong. Okay, this will print, you will say it will print a. So you have to be very precise that whenever you want to print the integer, it should not be in double quotes. It will print like this only. Okay, now you can't store, suppose if I want to store decimal value into, you can say, suppose if I say b equal to, we'll say 23.4. So it will give an error. Okay. Now for this, we have another data type which is called double. Okay. Now double will store the decimal values. It's a very basic interview question that which data type will store the decimal values, and the answer is double. Okay. Now you see that there is one more data type which is now you see when I say, it says represents a 32-bit signed integer. Now suppose if I say long L equal to, now you see represents a 64-bit signed integer. Okay, now this is a very basic question that what is int used for and what is, suppose if I say, now you say this is a integral constant is too large, it will give error. For, you can say, uh, storing bigger values, we will use long. So interview can ask you that for storing bigger values, you can say bigger integer values, which data type is used? And the answer is long. Long data type is used for storing bigger values. And the main answer question is, you can say both int and long can't store decimal values. Only double data type can store decimal values. Now there is another data type which is known as char. Now here only one character is allowed. I'm again saying only one character is allowed. If you want to write suppose 2, then you see it will give error. Too many characters, too many characters in a character literal. So it will store only one letter. Okay. Now suppose there is another data type which is known as byte. You say byte b1 equal to 99. Now range of byte is represents an 8-bit unsigned integer. Here it represents 32-bit signed integer. So range of byte is less than integer. Now why I'm telling you this? The question is that why I'm telling you this, that you want to use uh, integer or you want to use long and you want to use byte. Can you tell me?
Because these will use in my Selenium, like for the int, I can say that it will be getting used and byte, yeah, int and byte and double, yeah, they will getting used in my code.
So just
We have a basic. Uh,
the thing is, suppose uh, if I suppose if I'm declare int a equal to, you can say, 98. When I declare integer, now what happens? It will take, you see here, int is a 32-bit signed integer. Now when I declare int, it always takes space. Suppose this is the default space that integer will take. Now my value is 99, which is small. So 99 is here, and you say that it will take, suppose, this much of the space in my memory location. And this whole space will be wasted. Every time I declare an integer, it will take a default space in my memory location. Suppose integer, you can say integer int I equal to 10. It will take, we'll say, this amount of memory space, and this whole space is in waste. So that's why we take byte for smaller values. The thing is that only. And for, you can say, long, so when I declare long, it will take larger than integer. And suppose if I say long, this is the word, it will take, you say, this amount of memory space or whatever the amount of memory space and this is memory space which are wasted. So for smaller values, we will use byte, and for uh, you can say bigger than smaller values, we will use integer, and for the larger values, we will use long. But in the most of the cases, we will use integer only. Okay. Now, suppose if I interview can ask you that what is the uh, range that is allowed for byte. Now, suppose if I write under, or you can say other one, yeah. Now it will give. It will not take values which are, you can say, greater than, I think so, maybe. No, it will not. It is taking this one. So it, most of the cases when there are double digits, you will use byte. Okay. Now there is one more data type which is called bool. Okay. Now bool means either it can be true or either it can be false, but it has to be something. When you declare bool value, you have to declare it true or you have to declare it false, but you have to declare it. You cannot say like uh, the thing is you have to declare it either true or either false. So suppose if I write int x equal to 100, int y equal to 200, and int z equal to 300. Okay. Now, if I say, uh, oh, just before that, if I say console dot write line and say, suppose 4 is greater than 7. Now, if I run my code, then it says false, that 4 is not greater than 7. Now, suppose if I write 4 is less than 7. Now, if I run my code, then it will print true. Okay. Now, coming back to our that, yeah, and we say one exception if x is greater than y and y is greater than z. Okay. Now, console dot write line that x is greater. Okay. And else if say if y is greater than z, then we say console dot write line y is greater. else z is greater. Now you see, I'm just writing a simple, you can say, code of lines. I say if x is greater than y and y is greater than z. Now this operator, you see, this will look for the both of the conditions to be true. If the both of the condition is true, then only it will go inside. If the one of the condition is false, then it will not go inside this curly brackets. Okay. Now, sub, now 100 is not greater than 200, and now when this condition fails, then it will not look for this condition. In this condition, both of the conditions has to be true. Only then it will go inside this bracket, or you can say this curly bracket. Now again it will go. Now this condition doesn't hold true, so it will go to the another condition. Now it will look for that 200 is greater than 300. No, which is wrong. So it will not go inside this bracket as well. Then it will go in the this else part and type console.writeLine that z is greater. Now suppose if I execute my code, you see that z is greater. Now suppose if I say this is to be 250. Now can you tell me that which part will be printed?
The L because X is in Y. First condition is true. In the first case, the X is greater than Y is true, but Y is not greater than Z. Then
Yeah,
it will not go in the X is greater.
yeah.
And so yeah, it will go in the else part only.
Which will x is greater, y is greater, or z is greater?
Z is greater.
Okay, you
Z
are,
is greater.
yeah, this is right. Again, it will go for z is greater. Now, suppose if I say that this is 400, okay. Now, if I say that this is 325 and you say that this is 395. Now, which will be printed? Which is the greater?
X is greater. Like first condition is true in this condition.
Okay. Now suppose if I say here, now this is an OR condition. This says either of the condition is true, then it will go inside this. Now suppose if I come back to, yeah, now this is 100. Now what will be written? What will in the print statement?
This is the OR statement. Okay, X is greater than Y. Okay, yeah, X is greater. Then it will print the X is greater.
Yeah, because here y is greater than z. So either of the condition is
Yes.
true, it will go into this
Hmm.
curly brackets. So you have to be very
Okay.
precise about using the and, or you can say using the or condition. Sorry, or condition.
It will
This
not
will,
go in the else, right?
No, it will
It
not going to
will
in
not
else
go in the.
else part because
Okay.
in the first condition it will find that
Okay.
this condition is true. This
Mm-hmm.
is false. This is false. I know, but
Yes.
either of the
Yes.
condition is true, it will go in this to this bracket.
Okay.
Okay. So if I run this, you see, it is x is saying x is greater because I know that x is not greater, but in my condition, I have put that either of the condition is true, then it will go inside this curly brackets. Okay. So there is you clear about this if and else part and or operator. Okay. So you
Yes.
have to
Yes.
be very precise about using this. So again, I'm saying that uh, it will look for all the conditions to be true and it will look for either for any of one condition to be true. Now suppose if I introduce new variable, you can say f equal to, you will say 400. Okay. Now, and I will say this is to be 399. And I say, and say x is greater than f. Now, what is happening here? Can you tell me?
You have inserted multiple statement like or and the and.
Yeah.
So it will check
For,
for the x is greater than y or y is greater than z. And also along with that, it will check that x is greater than f also. Either
yeah,
is x greater than y or y, and along with that x and f.
yeah.
Yeah.
This condition has to be true. Either of these has true, it is okay. But this condition has to be true. Okay. Now in this, what will it print?
It will print else this part. Y is greater than y is greater.
Yeah, it will print.
Y is greater.
Again, it is printing x is greater.
Y. Let me.
This is a very confusing part. Either of the condition is true, it will go
Hmm.
inside this. Because
Okay.
now if I put now,
Then is y. Y is greater.
okay, so you have to be very careful.
Okay.
Okay, whenever I put or condition, it will look, suppose now y is greater than z. I know 395 is greater than 325, but x is not greater than f. 399 is not greater than 400. Suppose if I put statement here and again I will, it again said x is greater because If one of the statement is true, then it will go inside this curly brackets. So you have to be very sure about using and or operator. This is and operator. If I say and operator, and this is or operator. And in simple language, where then there is and, then you have to see for the both conditions, and where there is or, you have to see either of one condition. Okay. Now there is one more data type, you can say, which is you can say string, name it as say str equal to, you can say anything like testing or anything, you can name it as any. Okay. Now if I hover over integer, it says system dot in 32. Now system dot boolean, system dot char, system dot in 64. Okay. Now system dot double. Okay. System dot byte. Now when I hover over string, it says system dot string class. Here you see this no written class over here, nor in bool, nor in double, nor in integer. But when I hover over string, it says class system dot string. So it's a very good interview question, that which is a data type which is a inbuilt class. So the answer is string. String is an inbuilt class in C sharp. Okay, we will discuss it as there is a, you can say, whole module about this string class and functions. Okay, we will discuss about the string. You can say now, suppose if I say string, you can say name it as wall equal to uh, wall. Okay. Now, what is the difference between this string with capital S and small string with small s? So this is your exercise. You have to tell me in the next class that what is the difference between string with capital S or string with small s. Okay, this is your exercise. You have to, this is a very good but a very basic question that you can ask, why I'm writing this small string, or why I'm writing this capital string. What is the difference between small string with small s and difference between, you can say, capital string with capital S, string with capital S or string with small s. What is the difference between the two? Okay.
Okay.
Now this is your, you can say, exercise. Now moving forward, now I will add new class, and we are moving for our next topic, which is known as concatenation operator. So, okay, I am making my class as, okay, concatenation is always there. First I will delete it. Okay, now add new class, and I will say concatenation study. Okay. Okay. Now, first of all, I will add my main method to it. Okay. Now, if I say string x equal to selenium and string y equal to training, and I will say console.writeLine x plus y. Now here plus sign is the concatenational operator. It is used for concatenating the strings. Okay. Now suppose if I run this program, it will give error. Okay, this is going for, you can say, back x is greater, which is my program.cs file. Now if I run, if I want to run my different class, suppose if I want to run this concatenation study class, for that I will go to my solution explorer window, right click on module 1 and go for the properties. And here this is an startup object. Click on this and here is my concatenation study. Okay. Whenever you select this, just after the selecting, just close this window every time. Okay, now if I run my code, you see it is printing Selenium training, and we have to write console dot read key. Now you see whenever I'm typing, it is giving me help. Okay. Now if suppose if I want to write console, I will simply press tab. Okay. Suppose if I want to, you can say dot read. Now it's say read key. Just click on tab. It will automatically write the whole keyword. So this is very small things, but it's a very good things. It will save your time. Now here you see that it is printing so much of these things. Now if I run my code, it will print only Selenium training. So whenever you want to print something, just go for the console.read key. Otherwise, it will print more things. So now you see it will print Selenium training in one single line, as Selenium and training are two different words assigned to two different variables x and y, but it is being printed in one single line because we are concatenating the strings. Now suppose if I take int a equal to 100 and int b equal to 200. Now suppose I will say console.writeLine a plus b. Now first of all I will comment this. Now if I run my code, it will print 300, as it automatically add the integers values by itself. So it will give 300. Now when I print Sorry. Now, suppose if I write a plus b plus x plus y, and if I say plus a plus b, now there are three print statements. Okay, now if I run my code, you see it is giving 300 Selenium training in the line number 20. So can you tell me why it is giving 300 Selenium training?
First of all, it added the integer and then string values, but they understood that in the 21 line in which we have
Mhm.
printed the string values and then integer, why it is not added the integer values? They didn't understood that. And the
Okay.
concately,
Yeah,
yeah,
I will give you the example. In our first line of code, it is clearly understand that 100 plus 200, it will give you 300.
yes,
Okay. Now in the second line, a plus b. Now, first of all, it will look for a plus b. Now, 100 plus 200, they are both are integers. Okay. You say our line is a plus b plus x plus y. Now, first of all, it will look for a plus b. Now, what is a plus b? A plus b is 100 plus 200. They are both as integer. So it will add up as 100 now plus x plus y. Now when, so this is 300. Now because a plus b is 300, so it add up as 300. Okay, now when it comes for 300 plus x, now 300 is an integer, but x is an string, which is selenium. So in this, it will act as a string. Now 300 will act as an string because this x part, which is selenium, is in string format. Okay. Now it will add as, and say 300 plus selenium. So now one is integer and one is string. In this case, this both will act as a string. Okay. Now if I say so, the example of this will be, you can say result of this will be 300 selenium because they both act as, here I can say, as they both act as an string. Now this is come as 300 selenium. Okay. Now when 300 plus x is now 300 selenium. Now it will concatenate it with y, which is training. Okay. Now 300 selenium is also a string and training is also an string. So the answer will come out as say 300 selenium training. Now there is no difference between the, you can say there is no gap in the selenium event. So it will, there is no gap between the 300 and selenium. So you see that there is no gap between 300 and selenium, as I have given gap between the selenium and training. If I did not give this gap, then you see it will just concatenate it by itself, that there is no gap. So whenever you concatenate the strings, it will concatenate by itself like this only. So now in the third statement, first it is x plus y. Now x plus y, they both are string. Okay, they both are string. So say that x plus y plus y, sorry, plus y plus a plus b. Okay, now in the first tab, when x concatenates with y, now x and y are selenium training. So it will come as selenium training. Now when it concatenates with a, now a is 100, but selenium training is an string. So they string selenium training say plus a equal to say a is I is 100. Now it will come as selenium training 100. Okay. Now in the next step, when it concatenates with b, which is plus b, which is 200. Now this is an integer part, but it is an string part. So they both act as an string. Now it will like as selenium training 100 200. Okay. Now you see that if I run my code again, yeah, again you see selenium training 100 and 200. Okay. Now you say that now it will follow the pattern of you can say left to right. You understand the pattern?
Hmm. Yes.
Okay. Now suppose one more thing. If I say I will say copy this and in this I will say this. Now again it follow the same pattern left to right. But now you see what will it give. The same thing is there, but brackets are there. Now what happens is that first it will look for the brackets. It will first solve this as separate and this as separate. X plus y is Selenium training and a plus b is 100 plus 200. First it solves this and this simultaneously. Then the result of this plus this. Now x plus y is Selenium training. It will print Selenium training and a plus b is 300. And after that Selenium training plus 300. So it will give Selenium training 300. You understand this?
Yes.
Okay. Now thing is that just remember whenever you put the brackets, it will perform the brackets value. Then after that, performing the brackets value, it will perform with each other. The results of the bracket values will perform with each other. So I'm putting the integer values in the bracket. So you might get errors in your script as well while working with the Selenium and you might get confused. So you have to be very careful while using the concatenation operator. It never adds up directly, especially with the case of strings. Okay, so till now, if you have any question, you can ask me.
No, the concept is getting clear.
Okay, if you have just do the practice as your own. If you stuck somewhere, just note that point and you can ask me in your next class.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure, sure,
so
sure.
so till now, everything that we have discussed so far is present in every programming language, whether it is C Sharp, PHP, Java, or Python. The concept remains the same for every programming language, that how you declare the variables. Okay, so now let's move to the concept of loops. Sorry, loops. Okay,
Okay.
uh, for this we take an example of uh, while loop. Okay, uh, I will say uh, mm, add new class and say study while add, and again I will add my main method with. Now I will simply just run my while loop int I equal to 0. Now I will write so, yeah, yeah, and I will say while I is less than equal to 0. Oh, less than equal to so 10, less than 10. I will say console dot write line and print I, and here equal to I plus 1, and say console dot read key. Now to make it as my startup class, again I will click on my project name, go to properties and click on startup object. Then I will say study while. Now, if I execute my code, now you see it is printing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, but it is not printing 10. So can you tell me why it is not printing 10?
Because I is smaller than 10, it's not smaller than equals to 10.
Yeah,
Like, and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, this is 10. Now it will print all
10 also.
yeah, it will print 10, say 10 also. Okay,
Yeah.
now in this is initialization. Okay, this is my condition, and this is an incrementation. Okay, now you can see here. Suppose if I put a debugging or if I execute my code, now here, this is a very good thing in C sharp that now I is 0. It will print I.
Hello.
Yeah, you there? Uh, Naman, you there?
Hello. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
you
There
there?
was a network issue.
Yeah, yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Yes. It is visible.
Okay. Now, when I press F10, now I becomes 1. Okay. Now, again, it will check for the condition that 1 is less than equal to true, which is, you see, it is printing true. Okay. Now, again, it will go inside the bracket. It will go inside the brackets till it reaches the condition. Now, you say I is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now 10, it will go inside this. Now I becomes 11. So this condition is false. So debugging is very helpful in C sharp. Okay. Now it will not go inside the bracket and it will print 10 and exit the code. So actually, when you work on projects, then you know the value of debugging that why I'm getting error. So you will know get to know the value of debugging. Okay, now suppose if I want to print reversibly. So if I is equal to suppose 10 is I is greater than, you can say 0, console dot write line I, and I is, can say I minus minus. So if I run my code, now you see it will print reversibly. So here in this step, now it becomes decrementation. Okay, so this is how your loops work. Now suppose I will go for my for loop. Okay, now I will say for. int, you can say y equal to 0 and y is less than equal to 10 and y is plus plus. And I will say console dot write line y. First of all, I will comment this, and suppose if I say it is 15. Now, if I execute my code, now you see it will print 15. So, in your opinion, which one is the better, while loop or for loop?
I think for loop,
Why?
because all of the initialization, condition, and implementation are working in the same line. I don't have
Okay.
to add the multiple lines for it.
Yeah, it is good. Now, suppose if now suppose while loop is not better in this condition, because if I suppose if I forgot to write this statement, okay, now what will happen? You will see that uh, not okay. If I say suppose here and I forgot to write this part, now you see it will go into infinity mode. So for loop is better, but in some condition while loop is better than for loop. You will see you will see in the coming classes that in some condition while loop is better than for loop in some conditions. Now suppose uh, just I will comment this. I will comment this. Now I want to print the sum of first 100 numbers. Okay. So can you tell me how to print the sum of first 100 numbers?
Like sum of one first 100 numbers, like an example.
Suppose if I 1 plus 2, 2 plus 3, if I want to,
Okay.
then
Mm,
1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 till
till 100.
till till 100.
No, not getting that idea.
Okay. Now, first of all, I will declare int sum equal to 0. Okay. Now, I will say sum equal to sum plus y and say console dot write line say sum of first 100 numbers is now here I will place 15 by 100. Now, if I execute my code, now you see it is giving 5050. You can check by getting it online, or you can check it manually by, you can say, adding each and every. The thing I am doing, I have declared this outside the for loop. Can you tell me why?
Because this is actually only one, I mean that only one once. I don't want it in the
So,
incremental for
suppose
loop.
if I do it here,
Hmm.
so will it give me correct?
I don't think so because in some is declaring in the for loop. No, I don't think
Okay.
so. It will work correctly. But yeah. What will happen if we run this code?
First of all, it will give an error that name sum does not exist in the current context because of this
Hmm.
sum variable is inside the this brackets. Every time it runs, suppose right now I'm not doing anything. I just want to, you can say, check. Now, when I, you can say, run my code, now first when it runs for the first time, now y is 0. Okay.
Hmm.
Now sum is again 0. Now after this sum becomes, because sum 0 plus 0 is again 0. Now again, now y incremented. Now y is 1. Again sum is 0. Now sum equal to sum plus 1, 0 plus 1. Now sum becomes 1. And when it again go in the loop, now y becomes 2. Now in my context, sum is right now is nothing, because again it is going for initializing. Now sum becomes 1. Now sum is again 0, because here I am again declaring the sum
Clearing this.
variables again.
Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
again sum becomes 1. So the
Hmm.
output of this will be, you can say, is always, you can say, 0 plus 100 is 100 in the last line. Okay. No, it will not print anything because the scope of this sum variable is inside this curly brackets only. Okay. That's why I have declared it outside the for loop. So now the question is that where we use for loop in Selenium. Suppose you can say, suppose you have an Excel sheet, uh, and Excel sheet is look like and this one, and you have, can say, username, password, email, and zip code, and you have your Excel looks like this only, that you have in first column you have your username, then you have password, then you have, you can say, your email, and then you have your zip code or phone number, anything. So this is an Excel file. You have to iterate through some values are there. Suppose these are values. and something. These are the emails. So these are the values you are having in your Excel sheet. Now you have to iterate through entire Excel sheet. So in this, we will use for loop. We will iterate through each, you can say each row, and then we will iterate through each cell one by one. Okay. So this is very useful. For loop is very useful in that condition that we will get to know that how many rows are. Suppose if there are uh, four, five, six rows in Excel sheet, then we can declare for int y is less than equal to 6 and y is 0 and y is less than equal to 6 and y plus plus. Then again inside this we will go with the cells, number of cells. So in this condition, for loop is very much helpful in iterating through each rows. Okay. Now, till now we have done, I think so, if and else and while for and some of the data types. So I will move forward or I will do it tomorrow. Depends on you. So tell me, will I move forward or will you want to do it tomorrow? The next topic.
I think I will repeat. I will like watch this video again, and we can continue tomorrow. Uh,
Okay. I will
yeah,
upload this video in 1 hour, maybe in half an hour. Okay, and
sure.
I will pass you the link. You will watch, and I
Okay.
have given you the exercise, one exercise.
Yes, the string, the
Yeah,
small string and the
yeah,
capital letter
capitals.
string. Yeah.
Yeah. What is the difference between the two?
Yes.
Okay. The first thing in the
Okay.
morning, tomorrow morning, we will discuss that.
Sure.
Okay. Hope you like the class, and we will meet tomorrow. And just when you watch the video, just write down
Hmm.
like I have writing down the key points.
Yes.
Okay. Whenever you go for the interview, these are the key points
Hmm.
that you will look into and go for the interview. Just write down the key points. Whatever you find out the key points, just write down the key points.
Okay, sir.
Okay. It will help you in the in clearing the interview, basic interviews.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay. Bye, Naman. We will meet you tomorrow at same time.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you for your time. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank